Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, world. It's a happy day, of course. Heralding a very, very significant week in the history of mankind. Of course, we are here, and of course, being part of that history. Again, you know what I'm talking about this Christmas week, and it's in 2 days, and it's celebrated all over the world. But then these are the days leading to it. We left last week, we said we're going to be back by God's grace, and exactly that's what has happened. We are back here. Thank you very much for joining us on Morning Spring on Western Spring Television, your station of choice, where we say it as it is. Femi Ojo is my name. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you to Morning Spring today. Thank you very much. How was your weekend? Hope it was splendid. Hope it was worth it. For some, possibly it was meant for work. For some, it was meant for something else. But then, it is what it is. We are back here. Good morning, Uzoms. How do you do?
I'm all right. Good morning,
Yeah,
Femi.
yeah,
And yeah, 2 days to Christmas.
yeah. It is. It is
I'm
what
sure
it
I'll come
is.
and eat rice and stew.
What?
I'll come and eat rice and stew at your
In
place.
my place. Of course, you are welcome. This is a time to marry and to
Yeah.
share.
Good morning, viewers, and welcome to another week of Morning Spring.
Yes, it is. And on Morning Spring, we usually look at the headlines, from major dailies in the nation, and then we get talking about other issues of public importance. Today, we are going to be looking into that as well. The issue of safety, you talked about it, rises too, and that will be done only by cooking.
Yeah.
All right, but the young ones are at home right now. The school is over. You have many of them,
Yeah.
running
All
around the
around.
place. Some will leave their place to another place for holidays. And you know what
Yeah.
happens? You can't afford to put your eyes away from these young
From them.
people.
Yeah.
And you won't always be at home. Even for adults, apart from the young people, what do we do at this time? Even on the roads, safety is very
Yeah.
important so that we don't, record bad incidents that are avoidable. Talking about incidents, the issue that happened last week was quite a forgettable week in many homes.
Yeah.
Stampedes, three places.
Three different states.
Now significant. It happened in three different regions of the
Regions.
country.
Yeah. Enough.
Right, in
South.
Ibadan, the southwest, in Abuja, that's the north central, and of course the seat of the nation, and of course it happened in the east, Okija in Anambra State.
Yeah.
Um, One thing that is common to all of these um, events and charity was it had good notion, good
Yeah. There were good
intention
intentions.
that turned
Bad.
badly. Safety, really. Some will say preparation, logistics, planning.
Yes. Planning.
Who dropped the ball in all of the security of lives and property? Was it looked down upon, or is just the state of the nation? This is not the first time people are having charity events.
Events.
Okay, all right, but then when you call for 1,000, how come like 5,000 are
Doesn't
turning
count
up?
up.
Is it because Nigerians are desperate for free things? Is it because we're impatient? Is it because of the hunger in the land that many persons who will not turn up for such events before are now vulnerable and they will easily, scavenge for anything? We'll look into that in the course of the program because it's
Yeah.
one thing. When you have almost like 65 lives lost
Yeah.
in a single nation in a week
Week was
because of incidents that happened at charity children events, everybody should be worried. From the number one in the nation, 65 people, it's worth talking about. How many persons I'll be talking about today? We are going to do that on the program as well. It is not just to raise rabbles or, to make people feel bad,
bad.
especially those that have lost loved ones. No, is to speak to the issues. Is there anybody, any group organizations that are
Yeah.
culpable,
Address the necessary things.
and then to learn lessons moving forward? It was a sad one. Many persons say maybe it was avoidable. 65, 35, or 40,
From
30,
Ibadan.
32, 35, some recorded 40 in the incident
Yeah.
in Ibadan. And then the one in Okija, almost 20,
That's,
25.
yeah.
And then in Abuja,
With a
almost 8 or
10.
10. Average like 60. And these are some of the issues again. Issues happen like this, and you have no concrete number. Issue of data.
Yeah.
coming with a figure. These are some of the issues we look into in the course of the program today. But firstly, we take this quick break. When we return, we delve straight right into what the papers have for us. Good morning. All right, kicking out from the Daily Trust for today, the Daily Trust newspaper. And, all right, uh-oh. These are the things you don't want to see. Sadly, it's the reality. Stampedes kill 213 Nigerians in 11 years. There is a statistics to that on the front page of the Daily Trust. Okay, 7 died in February 2023. 2 died in March 2022. 7 died in March 24. Okay, all right. I think I got that wrong. February 23, 7 people died. I mean, that this is about this year. 2024 stampedes in Nigeria. 2024 stampedes. Right. 7 died. When we say 7 died, 7 human beings died. In February 22, on February 23, and then on March 22, 2 died at different events, at a palliative distribution, same thing. 7 died in March 24 at the distribution center as well, and 9 died April 7, and December 18. That's sad, very sad. All of those days are sad as well, because this is still fresh in the memory. At a fun fair in Ibadan or your state, 40. The Daily Trust is authoritatively reporting 40. December 18, and December 21, 22 died. Just 3 days later, 22 died. That was in Okija. And December 21, on the same day, December 21, as some were dying in Abuja, some were dying in Okija, in Nigeria. As a distribution of palliatives, Christmas, events, and all of these things have been happening as well. We will look into that in the course of the program. Moving on, 2025 budget scrapped, and Niger Delta Sport Ministries get 2.3 trillion naira. Again, 2025 budget scrapped, Niger Delta and Sport Ministries get 2.3 trillion naira. While they've been budgeted for, if actually they have been scrapped, from the coffers of the nation. There will be no more sport ministry. There will be no more Niger Delta ministry. And so, why are these ministries still? Why are they still having budgets? You might want to pick up the Daily Trust for that. It's embarrassing. CISLAC, an appropriation bill, lacks fiscal discipline. Article. Okay. When that news came and said the ministries, agencies, department of the government, FDAs, have been scrapped, some have been merged, some have been subsumed into others as well. And Niger Delta Ministry was scrapped. Sport Ministry was scrapped, was collapsed into the now to be known National Sport Commission.
Okay.
Now, at the document that was submitted by the president, it was found out that these same ministries that have been scrapped were still being budgeted for.
Yeah.
Why? These are the issues. You talk about scrutinizing these things. Who gave Mr. President these things? Did he check it? Because I'm sure almost, possibly the pages of those documents running into hundreds. Only Mr. President couldn't have checked that.
No.
What happens to his handlers? What happens to his SA and SSAs, SA on SA matters, all of these special assistants that are just all over the place that will allow such a gaffe to happen? Or maybe there is an explanation for that. Top strip of the Daily Trust. Federal government lifts ban on mining exploration activities in Zamfara 5 years after. Some will say, did they really stop? Actually, the mining really stopped. Maybe it's the quantity, that was reduced. Not that it went down to zero. Maybe not. But that ban has been lifted now. The question is, why was it lifted? For security reasons. The reason for that lifting has it been solved now? Have things been normalized now? Have things been put in place to regularize, the activities of miners in that place so that it will not turn to an insecurity venture in which people will be kidnapping one another just because of the liquid gold that is, the gold that is there actually. Away from that, Yuletide. Airfare skyrocket amidst operators' capacity crunch. All right, everybody expect that at this time, But then, if as that is the case, even in the world over, Nigerians' own will always be
Yeah.
beat, different,
Different.
because we want to make money at all cost. Some will say, as a Yuletide like this, why many companies, many industries all over the world, especially in the West, are having, end of the year sales, having bonus,
Yeah.
having promos, pushing out everything that they have
yes.
at discounted rate. The reverse is the case in
It is in
Nigeria.
Nigeria.
As things become cheaper in some part of the world, here,
It becomes more expensive.
and we are
Stores are
celebrating.
Skype.
Is what it is. Despite petrol price cut, NNPCL stations, others sell above 1,000 naira per liter. We said it on this desk. Reduction by MRS, this reduction by whatever, the reduction in pump price by the NNPCL or by Dangote, you get to the pump first.
Yes.
And it's being reported
That's where
today,
we
this morning, 23rd day in the month of December, that is still 1,000 naira or more in some other places. Maybe there might be reduction in other pump filling stations as well. But then, that will be all from the Daily Trust for this morning.
Okay. And on the Punch this morning, stampede deaths. States list of conditions for palliative distribution. Just like we discussed. Oh, organizers must secure permits, provide medical team, ambulances, security. Others insist governors. These are necessary things that we feel they should put in place to avoid some of these. And then we have police deny killing hunger protesters, demand amnesty's apology. Government approves recruitment of 3,927 custom officers. Federal government's 50% transport reduction scheme may begin Tuesday. Why Tuesday? Okay. Why flees after setting Ogun cup ablaze during dispute? Wow. These are some of the security challenges we're having. Tinubu repeating Buhari's borrowing mistakes at Atiku. And the top strip there we have travelers battle on ending price hikes ahead of Christmas. Petrol to sell at 935 naira per liter from today. Ipman.
Okay.
How terrorists smuggled Libya gun truck into Zamfara. Federal government. And we also have why governors demanded further talks on tax bills. Marking day. And that will be all on the Punch this morning.
All right, away from the Punch newspaper, let's move to what the Guardian has for us. The Guardian newspaper. All right. And distrust others, slow financial inclusion. 4.3 trillion naira outside banks. The Guardian has that. Distrust others, slow financial inclusion amid 4.3 trillion naira outside banks. Excuse me. And of course, you have different indices to that there. The other picture of the central bank governor, Mr. Cardoso, mobile, desktop, ATM, branch, POS. All right, and 95% financial inclusion target for 2024 missed. Many Nigerians still don't trust banks. Keep money at home. Will you blame Nigerians for that? Yeah, will you blame Nigerians? Maybe, you go to banks and then for you to, when you want to deposit, you go through issues. But then now, when it's time for you to withdraw your money, it
Still go
becomes
through.
very cumbersome. Actually, you deposit and then you get to some banks, you're only allowed to have 10,000 or 20,000. All right. You might say, okay, maybe the cash policy, we don't want enough of it. I mean, many, uh,
Much cash
yeah,
spreading.
in the circulation, actually,
Yeah.
we don't have much cash in the circulation. But then the online platforms are not helping. Many
Yeah.
banks are a
Having
disappointment.
issues. Yeah.
You know, by the time you want to do the USSD, many of them are next to nothing. And in fact, the moment you dial, I know a particular bank. The moment you dial star dash 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 ash
Yeah.
and you press 6.96 naira, is gone.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And then it's not that whatever you want to do is successful, whether it's successful or not. The moment you just dial, even if that thing will roll and roll, it will not go through, your money will. So if you do it 10 times,
wow,
the same amount will have been removed. It's not that you are through with that transaction. No. The moment you just dash, star, dash, 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 ash, you press send, bam. Almost 7 naira is removed. God help you, the transaction goes through. If you want to say, oh, I'm not doing it again, or you go ahead, the transaction didn't go through, you tried 15 times, the same way they would do. And these are the banks that will come at the end of the day and say they've made 1 trillion naira. No, you guys have not made 1 trillion naira. It's a 419 thing. I don't know how it works. Yeah, that's the way it is.
Actually, I
when you use
that though.
Yeah, when you use USSD channel, right?
Yeah.
When your transaction goes through, I'm sure that's when you should pay.
Yeah.
Because you have used that channel. Not that immediately you just dial the number like this. Yeah. Either it's successful or it's not successful, you'll have removed 7 naira. So imagine 7 naira removed in 1 million places. That's almost like 7 million naira. And these guys will go around saying they have made 1 trillion naira. They have made 500 billion naira. No, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. I think NDIC and CBN should rein in on this still. It appears little. You just think it's 7 naira. Now imagine 7 naira removed in a million places in a day.
How much it? The truth is, I've actually experienced that with my bank. I know I see it sometimes. Okay. I use app too. I use the USSD too. I know I see it sometimes, but not for every time I want to make transactions.
All right. Maybe you are lucky. That particular color of a bank, I'm almost pushed to say it, but then if it continues, we will call you out one day. That's next to fraud, because the USSD is to make life better.
Yes.
And if actually I'm engaging that channel, whatever I want to do, when it goes through, that's when you should remove your stuff.
Yeah.
Now, the moment I dial it, either it goes through or not, you've already removed it. Oh, this is not working. Let me try it again. Does another, this lagging. They remove it again. This is not the way to go. Exclusion highest in Northeast. It's 7 million Nigerians can't raise 75,000 naira, obviously. Nigeria needs 60,000 ATMs to boost inclusion. The same ATMs. There's a particular bank around this place, who are approaching the place one day. I was about to get many ATMs, like 5 of them in a particular row. And the woman, when you get to ATMs, people are asking you, is it working? Now, the moment you don't see people on queue,
it's not working.
Now, 70% SMEs yet to recover from Naira redesign policy. These are the issues. Away from that, 18,000 pensioners yet to receive benefits as PENCOM laments low funds. 18,000 pensioners yet to receive benefits as PENCOM laments low funds, and student loans to be restricted to high demand courses. Really? There is another condition now.
Really?
What are those courses that are in high demand? Law, engineering, medicine. Okay, so if I all right, let's go. Now these are some of the things,
Yeah.
There is a particular loan policy that has been put in place for the student to help them, especially indigent students. You have access to either the course I've chosen is in demand or not. What's the problem?
It's my course.
And who pulls that? The private sector will do his own. The people in power will do their own as well. That's like a bad bank. I'm almost being pushed to mention. You can't be defrauding the people. It's a fraud.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Let me just give a cue. That particular color of that bank is not too far away from red. It's not red, but not too far away from red. Between red and yellow. an amalgamation of that particular, it gives you that particular thing. Now, moving on. Article criticizes 2025 budget, warns of deepening economic challenges. All right. An expert warns against use of urine, breast milk to treat eye defects. These are,
Oh,
I think, cultural beliefs. Yeah.
yes, yes.
And
Well,
in some
that's
places, you want to, quote unquote, is valid. That's what they are used to. But maybe we can do away without that. There are other potent, ways of treating some of these things. You have, and I remember, especially for children, they have these discharges in their eyes, and then they tell
yes.
their mothers to put breast
Breast
milk
milk.
on it. Maybe it's no more functional. Okay, maybe there are eye drops. Just go to the hospitals. But cultural and traditional beliefs.
All these grandmothers will say it doesn't work. That
Okay.
that's not
All right.
effective.
But experts are warning that we should do away with that. Now, North, not parasitic. Governance needs prudence, says Ndume. Interesting. Defection from LP won't stop. Obime dump party, says Okupe. And stampede deaths trigger political blame game as federal government defends Tinubu's reforms. Interesting. Delayed salaries hamper yield tide for 70,000 naira federal civil servant. All right. And Ipman says members will sell fuel at 9.35 per litre from today. That's a good one. That an association like Ipman will rein in on their members to key in
Yeah.
into this reduction thing. But I want Ipman and other bodies as well
Yeah.
to rein in their members from shortchanging people at the pump. I'm not saying Ipman does it as a body,
No.
but there are some outlets. 5 out of 10 filling stations do that.
Yes, of
You
course.
go there with a 5
Liter
liter
jerrycan.
gallon, tell them to put 5 liters for you. Definitely,
It
most
can never be
definitely,
full.
it can never be full. These are some of the places we need to pay attention as well.
And
And
they
we don't
do-
say government, although there are task force from the angle of the government that could, discipline erring people.
Yeah.
But organizations like IPMAN, Petro, and some of these bodies to make sure Nigerians are not defrauded at the pump as well. And federal government leaves ban on mineral exploration in Zamfara. That will be all from the Guardian.
Okay, and on the Nigerian Tribune this morning, we have Tinubu's reforms not responsible for stampedes. Federal government tackles PDP, others. And the writers there, as PDP blames Tinubu, it's a reflection of hunger in the land, Obi. A mockery calls out Obi. Falana heads to court as 105 killed in palliative stampedes in 32 months. Safeguarding children in crowded gatherings not negotiable. PAN. Buhari, Khan, others mourn. States roll out crowd control measures. And we have real sector growth. Federal government disbursed 16.1 billion naira to 22 manufacturers. Idun. NDLEA arrests businessman with 256 wraps of cocaine at Kano Airport. Police fault Amnesty International on end bad governance reports. Federal government lifts ban on mineral exploration in Zamfara. And we have federal government's 2025 budget lacks capacity to address Nigeria's challenges. Atiku. Alleged death by torture. IGP visits family, directs FCID to take over case. Ilorin Emir demands thorough probe. And on the top strip there we have Forex crisis, freight charges frustrating federal government's food import waiver policy. Experts. Fuel to sell at 935 naira per litre from today. Ipman. I think this is a story we're seeing in almost all the newspapers.
All right.
We hope it stands actually. And that'll be all on the Nigerian Tribune this morning.
All right, and that will be all on the segment for now. Actually, and many things to talk about. Politicians will do what they do. That's
Yeah.
politics, actually. And so when you hear the issue of blame games, especially on the stampede that has happened, that has cost the lives of, scores of Nigerians, it's a shame. Let them do their politics, but I'm not sure lives should be used as a yardstick to make points But then you might want to say these politicians are Nigerians as well. So
Of
either they are
course.
speaking as a Nigerian, they are speaking on the altar of politics. The truth is sacrosanct. What is happening? What has happened? What has gotten us to this level in which states are now giving out advisories and they are making instructions to say, I think Lagos has done that
Yeah.
officially. To say if there's anybody, individual, organization, religious bodies that are having this kind of intention, make sure you reach us.
Yeah.
And I think that's the ways to go now. Maybe it might
Yes.
not be necessary before, or plans might be made as an individual for you or your organization to go to the police, to the road safety, to logistic bodies, to bouncers, to event planners, and all of those things. But they are saying, don't just do that. Come to us as a
Yes.
state. Tell
So
us
we
your
can work
plans. How
around
many
it.
persons, and then we advise you. In fact, Lagos said we have handled so many of these things before, and I think maybe that's the right way to go, so that they will tell you possibly what you are missing, so that good intentions will not end up
Um,
being
So,
ugly
but
at the end of
that's
the
what
day.
people actually wonder. Be like,
Yeah.
this is something you've been doing for a while. So why is
Mm.
this year actually different?
Yeah. I
That's
think the one
why.
that happened in Okija is been done every year.
Yeah, it's been done every year.
Obi Jackson stuff,
Yes, it's
and then the
foundation.
Former Olori Ashile Kunwola, he said she has done it in Oshun, she has done it in Undo, but then he went to Oyo State and the disaster struck. The one in Abuja as well. I think that's a particular church or
Church,
something,
yeah.
and these are some of the issues we are seeing. But then I think it's good to know, maybe late, but maybe better to say everybody, when you want to do things of that scale and it's being
Yeah.
publicized, maybe this state, and we have a desk, that can advise you. This is the way to go. This is the way to go. So, because at the end of the day, if something happens, God forbid, people will still call out government,
Yes.
either at the state level or at the national level. So the state are saying, let's take precautions. Come to us. And if actually anybody will not do that now, then that person will be responsible. Or if a
Yes.
government, a desk gets hoodwinked, gets to know that there is something of that magnitude that's been planned, and they have not, been involved,
Involved.
then they can cancel.
Of
And you
course.
won't say, what we say around here, he's bad belly. It won't be bad belly.
No, you don't
It's
bother that.
just that government
Lives are
trying
at
to be
stake here
responsible.
because
Especially, it's a sad one, actually. We'll go on this quick break. When we return, we speak to issues. Stay with us.